Guys, how's it going? It is your boy, Manga Man Drew, and I'm here to cover the spoilers for My Hero Academia, manga chapter 381. And boy oh boy, are these some spicy chapters, because there's a lot that's going to be going on in this chapter pertaining to a certain character and a certain theme, and we're just getting a lot going on that I'm really going to enjoy, and hopefully you're going to enjoy in this chapter as well. So, let's dive into the spoilers and talk about what's going on in this chapter. For starters, the title of the chapter is called Darkness, which, from that name alone, you can probably understand what is going to be a main focus in this arc. What is going to be a main focus in this chapter. So the chapter begins with Kami confused by the fact that All For One has a face now, and Shishikura saying that he will get revenge for his father. His desire was to kill All For One, but he will not give in to hate. He will inherit his father's efforts as a jailer. Other Shiketsu students arrive and start helping the heroes on the ground to deal with the Twice Clones. Pixie Bob says that focus has shifted to immobilizing Toga and defeating All For One, saying that all heroes with long-range quirks should go fight them. Tsukachi contacts Hawks and he thanks him for sending reinforcements, but Tsukachi says that the Shiketsu students were already on their way before he even asked. The future of the war is tied to what will happen in Gunga, so they need to stop All For One ASAP. So, the first part of these text spoilers is a little bit interesting because we get some confirmation of the relationship that Shishikura has with All For One, which explains why he's here. And this is some information that we actually get in one of the volume covers when it comes to his relationship to his father, who actually worked at Tartarus. So that's the reasoning why he's here. But also, it's just a lot of interesting stuff showing that not just these three are here from Shiketsu, but everyone else is from Shiketsu is here fighting alongside the other heroes. As well as we're getting a little bit more confirmation about how the heroes are now focusing more on stopping Toga and All For One than just stopping the villains in general. So that's cool information that we get to hear, and I can't wait to get more of this in the chapter proper. But going into the next part of the text spoilers, All For One says that they were cautious about the risk of him stealing the heroes' quirks, so initially they only sent Endeavor and Hawks to fight him, but now they're desperate. All For One laughs and using a quirk combo, growing wings and throwing a laser with black lightning. The attack hits many heroes, including Kamui and Kinoko, and Hawks realizes that he's now using more quirks. Shishido says that they cannot be intimidated and that the defending heroes need to contain these blows. They finally got All For One to stop and fight instead of running. All For One asks why they think they have any chance without the only man who can match him. They don't know what he's capable of at his peak. Everyone there was born during All Might's time of peace, so they didn't live through the dark times when everyone feared him. As All For One talks about his kingdom of darkness, we see a panel of Banjo standing in front of several fallen buildings, and while he's saying all of this, we see two panels of Dabi flying after Endeavor, totally burned. So, this part of the text spoilers is very interesting because we're getting more of a perspective shift away from just All For One trying to run away to All For One standing here, which is probably going to address a lot of issues that people may have had for the last chapter in this chapter, so that's very interesting. As we get a small mini flashback that shows Banjo fighting against All For One, that's pretty amazing. I would like to see if we're going to get more of those in the next few chapters, but this is something cool that we're getting in this chapter because we really didn't get a chance to really see how the Vestiges actually fought All For One. As far as we know, we've only seen 4 or 5 of these characters actually interact with All For One, so there are still a few more that we need to understand about the relationship to him to understand why it's so important for them to be Vestiges. But getting more into the text spoilers, we apparently have with the next part of the text, which says that the wind goes towards All For One, and Inasa says that he knows all of that because they learn about it in modern history class. He has decided to support Shoto and Endeavor, so he's boiling blood will not give in to fear. All For One is impressed by his quirk and thinks about stealing it. All For One uses the wind in his favor to propel his attack and hit some heroes, but they tell Inasa to continue. Inasa himself gets hit in the face, but he's not shaken and says that his quirk gets stronger on windy days. Instead of fearing the past, he wants to see the future. Hawks remembers what he said to Endeavor at UA and says that it's not only One for All that connects people's hearts, Endeavor is also bringing hope to the young ones, including Inasa and himself. All for One looks disgusted and says that he hates that light in Hawks' eyes. However, this makes no difference. The remaining heroes are all weak and can't even get close to him. It is then that an absolute darkness appears behind him with two huge eyes. All for One's expression changes to fear as he feels the presence of Tokoyami and Dark Shadow. So this is where the chapter gets a little bit more interesting, as well as we get a little bit more understanding for why darkness is the title of this chapter. Because we see that Endeavor is inspiring all of the other heroes who are participating in the battle, specifically Inasa and Hawks, into actually fighting for a better future. As well as we're getting a little bit more understanding of what's going on inside of All for One and what's going on in this battle, and how even though All for One was this fearsome creature in the past, he is no longer fearful due to just the education that the students have, as well as just them just no longer being afraid of him. So it's cool that we're really showing that the reason why All for One was so feared is because he seemed to be unknown, but now people are being inspired to be able to surpass their fear and willingly face All for One in this moment. As well as the fact that what we're going to be getting with the next part of these text spoilers is going to be amazing because of what's going to be going on with Tokoyami and Dark Shadow. And going into the next part of the text spoilers, All for One remembers the attack that destroyed his mask and has the same feeling that he needs to dodge it right now. Tokoyami says that there are many different types of darkness, and for him to stop bragging as if he knows them all. The small shadow that All for One produced has long since been illuminated by Class 1A. As he says this, we see a panel of baby Tokoyami sleeping next to Dark Shadow and the panel of 1A students receiving the umbrellas from the civilians. The rain clouds have darkened the environment and the flames are already dying out after burning all the trees. In addition, Pixie Bob created an earth shelter for Tokoyami to unleash Dark Shadow's full power. All Might said that All for One wouldn't be able to steal Endeavor's quirk just by touching at his flames, so it must be the same with Dark Shadow. Hawks realizes that he's been preparing for this since the Shiketsu students arrived and tells him to attack with all he's got. Hawks says that if he had helped Tokoyami on his journey, even if it was just a little, then he makes him very grateful that he was born with those dirty wings. The chapter ends with Tokoyami hitting All for One with Black Anchor Balder boosted by Inasa's wind. So this was something that I kind of thought was going to be happening in this war, but I'm so glad that it is happening now with the help of Inasa because of just the connections that these characters have with the area that they're in. When it comes to Inasa and Endeavor, and apparently when it comes to Meatball Man, let me remember his name because his name, what is his name again? Shishikura. Yeah, they have connections with All for One, so it makes sense that they will be here, as well as connections with Endeavor, so that makes sense that they're here, as well as, Kami has connections with also Endeavor via Shoto, so it makes sense that they're there. But also just having Tokoyami here, and Tokoyami playing a massive role in this fight, and just really showing the full extent of how powerful Dark Shadow is when it's literally succumbed by darkness. It may not be nighttime, but this is the closest we'll probably get during the day, and this is probably going to do major damage against All for One, but we're just gonna have to wait and see how the chapter actually comes out and what's going to be coming out within the next chapter, which we are unfortunately, or should I say fortunately, not on break next week. So the next chapter will be coming out around next week, as well as getting the most recent chapter this week. And I can't wait to review this chapter properly, but this is all I have for the spoilers for right now. So let me ask you, what did you think of the chapter? Did you like it? Did you dislike it? What was your favorite part? And do you think that Inasa is stronger than All for One? Leave your thoughts down in the comments down below. Leave a like on the video if you liked it. And don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel for more content like this. Do all that cool jazz, and hopefully I'll be able to catch you in my next video. Goodbye!